A very good evening, everyone. My name is Mahima Lal, and I am the part of engagement marketing team at Vired, and I'm your host for today's webinar. So, before we move into the topic and into the webinar, a quick introduction to the platform Wired, everyone. So, Wired is a premium LearnTech company, which is the part of the larger Hero Group, which is on a mission to not only reimagine the way people learn, but also help them build a better and a brighter future. So we at Wired, we ensure that we are equipping our learners with the right skill set, the right knowledge and expertise that they would require in order to find success in their lives. So as you all know that today we are presenting an exclusive webinar on the topic how to build products your customers love. And in order to present this topic, we have a seasoned professional and expert with us, which is Ashish Gupta. Very warm welcome, Ashish. Some of you might have attended his previous session, and for those of you who are new to Ashish and this platform, a quick introduction about Ashish. So Ashish is a professional into product management, and he carries an experience of 15 plus years where he has worked across companies like Intel, Google, and currently actually he's working as a senior product manager at Google, and he will be taking you through this topic and he'll be sharing his insights over this topic with all of you. And before we move into the topic, a quick housekeeping check here for the webinar. As you all know, you won't be able to switch on your mics and your cameras. You still have a Q&A section and a chat box open. If you want to make the session interactive, you have a chat box where you can respond to Ashish. And if you have certain queries regarding the topic that we are covering or anything regarding product management, you have a Q&A section open where you can put down your questions. And we have Ashish and Sonali here with us. They will be helping you out with all of your queries and will be taking you through the program as well and will be helping you understand the webinar better today. I think, Ashish, we are all set for the session and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mahima. I'm very excited to be speaking to all of you here. It's amazing. So many of you have joined despite an amazing match. So thank you so much for your time. I'm very, very thankful for you to join our session. I also want to call out the great efforts by Wire. Sessions like these, I think, help a lot of people. I get great feedback and response. They're doing a great job. In specific, thanks to Mahima and Sonali. I will keep a close eye on the chat window, so please feel free to put your thoughts and comments there. I will take up questions if they make sense during the flow of the session, or I'll just take them all at once towards the end. So some of you are joining back. I can see the names from the last time. And we spoke about how to be a successful product manager, how do you navigate your paths to be a successful product manager last time. I think one of the next things that makes a lot of sense is, okay, fine, you are a product manager. How do you really build products that your customers love? And I will try to take you through a few of the learnings that I've had throughout my own career by the way of some examples. And I hope you find it interesting. So please keep it interactive. I'll keep an eye out for the chat window. Quick word about myself, and as already announced. I just would like to highlight that being a product manager is a very successful career. It's fun, it's exciting, it's never dull. It gets hectic sometimes, but it's very rewarding. So I recommend product management as a great career option for everybody over here, and wish all of you the best of luck. I have been fortunate to experience complete product life cycles for a few different types of products, and that helps me do better at my work. So been in consumer electronics, in development tools, been in complete software as a service platforms, learning management systems, EdTech, and currently I'm into enterprise software. I'm currently a senior product manager at Google, and it's fun to be a PM. So today, we're going to discuss how to build products that customers love. I will start with what the concept of a product really is. Why should a product exist? And the why is the most important piece of products. Then I have a few tidbits of sort of suggestions, and I will back them up with various examples. So we look at how can you start with a vision. We'll look at a good example. I will discuss how do you come up with list of features for your various products, and we'll use a model there from the famous Prof. Philip Kotler. I will cover a very, very critical topic of how you have to absolutely avoid feature creep. It's very easy to get into feature creep. We look at a few products to drive these examples home. And then towards the very end, if we have some time left, we'll dive into Lean Canvas framework, or I'll just give you some links that you can follow on your own time. So with that, let me get started. One quick disclaimer. These are my views based on my experience. I don't represent my organization here. And also, there are no rights and wrongs universally. When you talk to different product managers, they will tell you what has worked for them. Same applies to me. So I think if you don't attend the rest of the session and you just take this slide as the key takeaway, I think that would still be worth your while. So there is no elaborate yarn to this. It's very, very simple and straightforward. But doing simple things becomes very difficult in life. So to build amazing products that customers love, whether it's B2B product or it's B2C products, whether it's a car, telephone, needle, aircraft, or it's a mobile phone app, it's a social media networking site, no matter what you're building, you have to know your customer and be very specific about which specific customer. If you are vague here, there's a lot of opportunity to make mistakes. So really deep down, know your customer, like specific customer, not that, oh, my customer is an Indian teenager. Okay, Indian teenager, which specific age group? Are you talking about 13 to 16, or are you talking about 16 to 18? Are you talking about urban resident teenager or a rural resident teenager, right? So that's what I mean when I say know your customer, like very specifically know the depth of your customer. Know what they do. Try to think about their life. What are their what things make them happy? What things make them sad? What do they really do in their real life? What are their concerns? What are their pain points? What are their aspirations? Figure out how do they do the various things they do, especially pertaining to the product area that you're trying to launch. And then figure out how can you help them. Don't think about the product, just think about the problems that you're trying to solve through the products. The biggest problem with product managers, people like us, is we try to over-index on the product, but it's actually the customer who you need to focus on as a product manager. Focus on the problems. The solutions will automatically manifest in the product. But if you focus too much on the product and try to think of it from the perspective of what is good for the product without thinking about what the customer is and what their pain points are, then you're going to end up in a big problem. And we'll look at a few examples of drivers. So this is my core theme for how to build products that customers love. Now let's dive deeper into specific pieces of how can you focus on the customer and their problem and not the product itself. Right? So the very first piece here is a framework from one of my most favorite authors and Howard Profs, Clayton Christensen. I don't think he coined this term called jobs to be done, but he was a big proponent of that. So Clayton Christensen is the name of this professor that I'm talking about. And jobs to be done, you will find books and content with a short form called JBTD. Right? Essentially, jobs to be done simply says that when you are building a product or launching a product in a market, think of it as a service that people are trying to sort of hire your product to get done. What is the exact job that your product is trying to get done? If your product is good at doing the job for which the customers are hiring your product for, then they will hire it more often and repeatedly. And once that happens, you will have a successful product that customers love. So focus on jobs to be done. So let's dive deep into what this jobs to be done thing is. And so in order to understand that, look at the three levels or three drivers of how customers attach value to a product. At the core base is the genuine need of a product. The second one is the want, and third one is the demand. Now, there is a difference between these three levels. So the need is whether the customers really need this product to get their jobs done. Or they can live without the product and the needs are taken care of by other means. If the need of the product itself does not exist, then the product will fail. One of the very common examples that comes to my mind is Google Glass. The Google Glass product failed to sort of justify the need for the product itself. People didn't feel that we need a glass which has a camera and a screen built into it. We have our mobile phones and that does the job, it's good enough. So people didn't feel the need for it. Same thing is with air purifiers these days, right? People think they don't need an air purifier. Little do they know that according to statistics and research, indoor air quality is worse than outdoor air quality, typically. If people knew that, then they would feel the need for an air purifier and hence they would install those. But until unless I read this, even I felt, oh my God, I'm living in a nice Bangalore gated community. There are a lot of trees around. Why do I need an air purifier? There's no pollution, right? But I'm not living in Delhi. No offense to Delhiites, uh, but that's what you feel when you don't feel there is a need for a product. Customers will never buy it. So first has to be the need. Once the customers feel that there is a need for this product, but they should also want it. The need should be big enough that the customers or the users feel that we want this product. And there's a difference here. Sometimes there is a need, but the customers may still not want to buy a product. They may say, okay, we have this need, but it's not big enough. Why do I care? Or I have this need, like I think I have need to own a Mercedes or a BMW, but I don't want it because it's too expensive and too difficult to maintain. So there is no want for me to buy a BMW, but there is a need, aspirational need, so to say. So once your product crosses the want stage, once you think that the customers want your product, and there are enough number of customers, enough number of users in a segment who want your product, then it converts into demand. So there are three levels. If only a handful of very few people actually think they need this product and they want to buy your product, and they are not large enough in numbers that you can profitably sell to them, then we can say that there is no demand for the product, right? So there may be need, a few of the customers may even want it, but there was no large demand for the product. So these are the three sort of drivers of how customers attach value to the products. Now, let's take a look at a nice example and just put all of these Gyan snippets into perspective. We all recognize this product, right? Tata Nano, and I just discussed jobs to be done, right? So if you look at jobs to be done, it aimed to be an affordable car. It aimed to be a car which could be easily purchasable by people who currently only have enough money to buy a two-wheeler. Right? That was the dream of Sir Ratan Tata, right? An amazing person that he is. He wanted to bring about the social transformation, and he said, "Why are in India the middle class families risking their lives by having four people riding on a two-wheeler? Right? The husband, the wife, and two kids. Right? One may be an infant, and one may be a younger kid at the front. So why are they risking their lives? Let's build a car for them that they can afford." Very, very noble dream. And the job to be done for this car as a product itself was, right, being able to go from point A to point B in a safe manner. I think it achieved that. But we all know that it did not succeed. It was a big failure. Why do you think it happened? Or we'll come to why later. But my first question is, did Tata Nano meet the customer's need? What do you think? Please feel free to put up in chat. I'll say yes. Okay. What about others? Manish says yes. Shamath says difference between affordable and cheapest. Okay, a large amount of you say yes, yes, yes. Okay, Rajesh says no. The positioning was wrong. Marketing went wrong. Yeah, marketing went wrong. But I'm trying to dig deeper as to whether it really meet the need or not. Okay, a lot of you are saying no. So those of you who are saying no, it did not meet the need. What need did it not meet? Can you articulate that? So as a car, as a safe car, there was a need, but it failed to create a want. So yes, is right. Anyone else? Anyone else who wants to quantify why there was no? Largely, yes, depends on what need you're looking for. Need of safety, yes. Need to look premium, no. That's right. Yes, but at the cost of quality, space, and proper technical specifications. Price was mentioned while launch or intro was mentioned 1 lakh, but on-road price was different. Rucha is getting into some more details. Manish has given me the perfect word that I was looking for, and that is status. So, and one of you articulated it very nicely, so thanks for that. There was a need that this product was meeting, and that was the need was to go from point A to point B in a safe manner, especially if you compare it with a two-wheel, right? I would say that it's a little unfair to compare Tata Nano with one of the safest cars, maybe a higher end car, because the goal of Nano was not to sort of be more or be safer than some of the existing cars, but its goal was to be safer than a two-wheeler where four people of a family are riding together, and for sure, it's like 1,000x safer than that, especially on Indian roads. So I would say it met the need for going from point A to point B. It met the need for safety, but it, as a lot of you have gotten it right, it failed the need of the aspirations of a middle class buyer, right? So the emotional want was lacking. People did not want to be associated. Rama has articulated it very nicely. Did not want to be associated with car, which was positioned as the cheapest car, right? So the biggest asset of this car, which is it's the cheapest car in the world, it's the most affordable car in the world, became its own enemy because nobody wants to buy the cheapest car. Because if I have 1 lakh rupees and I buy a Hero Splendor or a Bajaj Pulsar, I will not be considered a poor guy. But if I buy Tata Nano, automatically I get labeled or I label myself as a poor guy. Right? And car is not a functional product. Car is an aspirational product. And that's why you will see that many of the automotive brands will position cars as aspirational products, something that evokes emotion rather than function. Right? Cars are never positioned as a functional product. It's not a hammer or a tooth or a nail. So that's why it failed, and we all know, that it didn't really work. Even though I think it was a great product, it had great innovations. Some of you are interested in engineering. I think there is a book by Rashmi Bansal. That book is called Frugal Innovation. And the Frugal Innovation book talks about the various innovations that have gone into Tata Nano, how the Tatas work very closely with Robert Bosch to develop a lot of technology that goes into this product. So
Ashish, we cannot hear you actually.
Yeah, I just stopped for restarting the screen sharing. Right. So yeah, I guess most of you got it right. It was an aspirational product. It failed to meet the aspirational needs of the customer. It was a marketing failure. So the first lesson is that we as product managers may think that this is what we are building as a car, right? It has the guts, which you may have designed par excellence, great engine, seats, tires, etc. That's what you feel what you are building as a product. But this is not what the customer is buying. Customer is buying the benefits. When they envisage themselves in a new car that they've bought, they are expecting to feel a certain elevation in their social status. This is what was missing in. So this is what the point about jobs to be done precisely says. It says when we buy a product, we're essentially hiring something to get a job done. If the job is done well, then we will hire this product over and over again, especially when we are confronted with the same job. But if the product is not able to do that job well, we will not hire that product again. So that's what jobs to be done. So my first point is focus on the job to be done that you're offering through the product, and be very crystal clear about whether there is a need for this product. There may be a need, but whether there is want from this product. One of you beautifully put it, right? Nano was not able to generate the want from the customer because it was positioned as the cheapest car. And then if there is not enough people who want the product, then there won't be demand in the market. If there's no demand in the market, people will not buy. Another very, very amazing example. So I covered one failure. Let's talk about one amazing success. And that was one of the most popular electronics gadgets before electronics became so popular overall as a product category was the Sony Walkman, right? The Sony Walkman is a perfect example of the job to be done. Can someone or can a few of you put in the chat and say, what is the job to be done which Sony Walkman was trying to achieve? Portable music player, yes. Uh, Somebody said, I fought with my parents to buy this. It was such a amazing status symbol at that point in time. All of you are describing the function and the feature of this. You know, it can play and record audio. But the key job to be done, which, okay, let me take a step back. Akio Morita, who is the founder of Sony, he recognized a huge change in the culture, in the social fabric of the society in Japan. And he saw that there is a clear move of some of the youngsters away from listening to music along with everybody else in your drawing room, and they want to listen to personal music. So before the Walkmans became popular, people, just like family TV watching time, people would gather in the living room and listen to music on a Sony record player or something. And it was a community, it was a family listening experience. But Akio Morita figured out that there is this new trend that the youngsters are not interested in listening to the same music as everybody else. Yes, Lucha has put it very nicely. The youngsters, the new audience wants personalized experience. They want music on the go, but more importantly than music on the go, they want a personalized experience. I want to listen to the music of my choice. Right? That was the job to be done, which was not met by all the other type of music systems that came before the Walkman. This was the job to be done, and this is how it was marketed. Right? When Sony Walkman was launched, look at the name of the product; it very clearly conveys the key value proposition. And when it was launched in the market, it was very clearly positioned as something that you can take with you, listen to your music on the go. So that's how the Sony Walkman met the job to be done. And for a long time, it was one of the best-selling consumer electronic products. Okay, so that was jobs to be done. Now, the second thing that I want to highlight here is it's important not just for introduction of the product to the market, but it's even important during the making of the product when you're working with the engineers. So that is to start with the vision of the product. So you as product manager have to set the vision of the product, the theme for the product. If you don't set the theme for the product or the grand vision for the product, it does not enthuse the product builders, the engineers and the marketeers, the sales folks enough to put their heart and soul into your product. And B, your vision should be able to galvanize everybody's efforts toward one single common goal, what the vision portrays. So let me give this an example, and it becomes super clear with that. So if you look at the iPhone, of course, we know iPhone being such an iconic product. Like we can't have product management discussion without talking about the iPhone, how revolutionary it was. Before the iPhone was launched, this is what the scene was, right? And this is a snapshot from Steve Jobs' introduction to the iPhone, a 1 hour, 90 minutes long presentation at the Worldwide Developer Conference of Apple. In fact, I highly recommend you to watch that. It's amazing. If anybody remembers, can someone sum up in a single line, like 3 to 4, 5 words, what was the key value prop of the iPhone, or the vision of the iPhone, which very clearly was articulated by Steve Jobs when he stood up on the stage? Basically, I'm asking you to tell me what was the next slide after that. It was not no keypad, not user interface. No. Okay, Shamas, you're onto something. Computer plus phone. Think different, that's all. Computer, no. Okay, let me just, in the suspense, this is what it was. And if you remember how he said, look, we have the best iPod that we have launched ever. We have the best personal communication device that you have seen ever, and the best internet device. I'm going to launch 3 devices today. That's what he said. He stood up on the stage and said, I'm going to launch 3 devices. And then he put up this slide And then his next slide started sort of merging these three icons into one, and then he introduced the iPhone. So the vision of the iPhone was very, very clear. He said, we will combine the experience of having the best music player, the best personal communication device, and the best personal internet access device, and we will build it all into it. That is how simple the vision was. Very, very clearly articulated, very easy for the product team to build, and very easy for him to convey the same message to the audiences. Look at how simple he made the job of the marketing team, right? A great product manager is somebody who is loved by the marketing team. Great product manager ensures that the product itself becomes the message. So marketing team does not have to worry too much about how to position it. Sales team should very easily be able to articulate the key benefits of this. So the message of the product should be built into the vision, and that vision has to be very clearly articulated, and you as the product manager have to articulate it very well. And this is what the iPhone did. 3 devices in one. And then, of course, there were next level huge amounts of details into the iPhone product, right? It had revolutionary user experience. Some of you mentioned that, right? So it was a bold choice at that time to go full screen with touch screen and no buttons. And it was almost considered a very risky move by Apple at that point in time, because people said, hey, nobody will buy a phone which does not have buttons, right? BlackBerry fanatics, they said, we will never buy a phone which does not have the button. Now BlackBerry is excellent. So revolutionary EUI and amazing software. So they said, we will not give you a kiddie version of the operating system of the software on the phone, but we will take our huge operating system that we run our computers on, our Macintoshes on, and we will give you a taste of that in a smaller form factor. So full-fledged desktop class software, right? Which will have full multitasking, it'll have complete networking, fully secure. Its graphics and audio capabilities will also be at par with the desktop class software. That's what the next feature was. And the third one was complete internet. If some of you remember, it's actually almost hard for us to even recall. Before the iPhone came, and then Android world sort of built on that same vision, is now completely changed the way our phones work. There was no mobile internet. The closest thing to an internet that you could get earlier was the Nokia E-series slider phones, which would open from the center, and they were only good for sending emails through a special client that they were using, or Blackberries with their email applications. Or you could send fax through your phone. Or there was something known as WAP, Wireless Access Protocol, WAP, which was a kiddie version of the internet, very few websites, not the full-blown HTTP. When Steve Jobs stood on stage, he said, I will give you full internet, which means the same websites which open on the desktop will open on your mobile phone, right? Remember, when iPhone was launched, websites were not optimized for the mobile experience. So he built both the hardware, the user interface, and the Safari browser ported over to iPhone in such a way that you can enjoy the full-blown internet experience on this tiny screen. Right? A lot of people were skeptics at that point in time, but that's what visionaries do. And there were tons of innovations, 200 plus patents were filed by Apple for launching iPhone. But my point, guys, to you is all of this is fine, and these are all the details, and these are all the specific features which made it successful. And it's very critical to have attention to details. But it all started with the previous slide, right? It all started with the vision. And as a product manager, it's imperative that you set the vision for it. It's very, 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 very critical. So that's this about vision. What comes after vision is not in any way less important, and that's execution. What good is a vision if, as a product team together, and it's not just the job of the builders, the engineers, or the other cross-functional folks, it's your job as well to participate with them, work with them on execution of how do we actually get this product out into the hands of the customers. And when execution fails, none of the great visions really even matter. Right? And I'm going to give you two negative examples of where execution failed. And both of them amazingly capable companies, but all of these things do happen in life. Anybody remembers the Galaxy Note 7? It was an impeccable device. When it was launched, it was set to take the entire mobile phone industry by storm. It had very nice, beautiful design. The note functionality was better than ever. The note-taking artificial intelligence algorithms that Samsung had put into this were very accurate. It could recognize my handwriting. Like my handwriting is very bad. It's very, like I can't read my own handwriting. But this phone could do that. Okay. But do you remember what happened with Galaxy Note 7? Its battery started exploding. And one of the worst things that can happen to a product, I remember very vividly, when you board an aircraft, they would specifically call out that, please make sure that you're not carrying Samsung Galaxy Note 7 in the cabin. It was disallowed by the aviation industry to be carried in the cabin. It was a hazard identified by the airline industry. Now, there cannot be a worse PR marketing credibility nightmare that a company can ever sort of face. And that's why execution matters. Somebody cut corners on the battery testing cycles, by the way, I have huge respect for hardware manufacturers, especially the mobile phone guys. There is a lot of stuff that they need to pack into a very small form factor, and hence it's very tough. But somebody sort of rushed to the market, and Koreans are very meticulous. Samsung is very meticulous. Despite all of that, it just got rushed to the market in some way, and this bug was discovered unfortunately later. So that's where execution really matters, right? And another example of where execution failed, where the vision was bang on, which I don't think many of you even know or remember, but there was a phone called the Moto Rocker E1. This was the world's first phone which had iTunes built into the phone. It was not the iPhone which was the first phone to have iTunes. This concept, which sort of Steve Jobs mentioned when he launched the iPhone, that I'm combining the best of my iPod experience into a personal communication device. It was not the first manifestation of that vision. This phone, the Moto Rocker E1, was the first phone which saw the manifestation. But it was not a great example of execution. It had a lot of limitations. The connection from the phone to the laptop so that you can load up the phone with various songs was very slow. So it was painful to transfer your music from the desktop or the laptop to the phone, making it very frictionful to use. And it could only store up to 100 songs. So it was essentially an execution flaw. And then the user interface of iTunes on this phone was nowhere near to the slick and amazingly easy to use iPod user experience, with the capacitive sense, click wheel, and so on. So this is another example which was a dud, a failure of a product. But the vision was all perfect. It was bang on. They just did not stick to the vision or implementation of the vision to the quality at which it would be really appreciated by the customer. Hence, execution matters a lot. Okay, so we have looked at jobs to be done, why you need to figure out what's the need for a product. You need to figure out whether customers want it, whether there's demand. Then once you figure that out, you need to set the vision for the product. And you also have to set a culture within the product team where everybody is execution oriented. And you have done these things. Now we have to get started with figuring out what's the set of features that you will want to create for a set of audiences for your product, right? So how do you come up with interesting features that will solve the problem, right? So translation from vision or the list of pain points that a customer has to the list of features. For that, Philip Kotler gave a very interesting sort of mental model, which we can all use as product managers when we are figuring out the various features, right? So he said that there are essentially 5 levels of a product, or you could use a 5-level product model. At the core of the product is the core benefit that the product is giving you, right? It's called the core benefit. Then on top of it is the generic product. Then there is the expected product. Then there is augmented product, and then there is the potential product, right? So it's basically hierarchy. Let's try to understand each one of these. So at the core lies the fundamental need that you're serving. right? Remember, we said the core need has to be served. This is like the bare minimum. This is where the need of the product itself is justified. But that's not enough for you to have a viable product. There is the generic product, which is one level above the core benefit. For example, Tata Nano. Okay, maybe that's a bad example. Let's talk about iPhone, right? The core benefit iPhone was providing is all the three functionalities of music and phone and internet device packed into one device, right? That was the core benefit. But that's not enough. It has to have, a bunch of other things that go with it. For example, what good is a internet device if it cannot load up the full HTML pages? What good is a phone if it does not give you good call quality? What good is an iPod if the music sound quality is not good or you cannot reuse your old headphones, so on and so forth, right? So above the core benefit, the version of the product which contains all the necessary characteristics is the generic product. And then there is an expected product which has a lot of implicit expectations from the customer. Let's take the iPhone example. If I'm selling the iPhone, I have the core benefit, I am giving all the usable features also. Internet works fine, call quality is good, music sound quality is awesome. But there are a set of paraphernalia around it which the customer expects when they're buying a consumer electronic device. One, being a phone, it should be able to work with most carriers. Two, it should come with X years of warranty, as is the standard in the market. Three, there should be after-sales service support. Four, there should be clear retail stores where I can go and check out the product before I decide to buy it, so on and so forth. Right? So the expected product makes a lot of assumptions. I also call it the complete product. I think until unless you have built all the features in the product which make it a complete product, there is a mismatch in customers' expectations and what you are delivering. Right? So expected product takes into account all of these things that I mentioned just now. Now, once you have the expected product, I would say that you're good to go to the market. But beyond that, in the next version of the product, you have the opportunity to add more features into it, get more partnerships going around with your product, get other companies also to contribute to the product's value. Or by way of software enhancements, you keep on adding features. By way of attachments, you keep on handing more features, so on and so forth. That's the augmented product. So in case of iPhone, I launched the complete product, but when I launched it, I could only give, let's say, Twitter, okay, as a social media. I could not give Facebook and Instagram. The augmented product would be that now I have covered all the top 5 social media applications which are now supported on the iPhone. Or you can think of it as another example as when I launched the iPhone, it could not play YouTube videos, or there was no dedicated app for YouTube videos. But 3, 4 months, 6 months, 1 year down the line, I have made enhancement to my software system. Now YouTube can also have a dedicated app, right? Amit has hit a very, very critical feature in the chat message. He says addition of App Store. So fun story. Originally, Steve Jobs was against opening up app development experience to third-party developers. For 1 year, he kept fighting with his execs, and he was dead sure that we will never open the App Store to third-party developers because he was very protective of the customer experience. He felt if anybody outside Apple would develop apps, then Apple will lose control of the user experience, and Apple and Steve Jobs was not prepared to give the third-party developers the control over the user experience within that app. And it was an unpopular decision at the time. But 1 year later, they did a 180-degree U-turn. I think the execs were able to convince Steve Jobs because there was tons of interest from third-party app developers. And I think probably Apple also realized that they can never build as many apps at the rate at which the third-party ecosystem can do. So that's what is a great example. Thank you so much, Amit. Is a great example of the augmented product. You bought the iPhone for 1 year, you only have native Apple apps. But over time, customers have started downloading third-party apps as well. And now the utility of the same phone has just exploded by 1000x because it can just do so much more. And that is the point at which the phone became a platform and not just a product, where others are building apps on top of it. So that's the augmented product, I would say. And then finally is the potential product. Potential product is something which could be aspirational, something which could be moonshot, something which could be a North Star metric for you to drive over 3 to 4 to 5 iterations of your products, not something that is achievable immediately. Right? So any kind of Siri kind of functions, voice recognition, AI functions, right? Those are the kind of things, if we take the iPhone example, I would put in that category, the potential product, amazing set of moonshot features that you can add to your product, which were very difficult to implement when you first launched the product, but they essentially add to customer delight and they also improve your business. So potential product is all those moonshot ideas, right? That's what these 5 levels are. When you create your product, you can put those product features into these hierarchies as well. Let's take an example. I thought of taking an example as a digital image editing business, right? The photo business. So at the bottom lies, oops, yeah. At the bottom is I should be able to process digital images. When I've taken a lot of pictures using my digital camera, either by loading it to my laptop, I will provide a software. So as a digital image software company, I will provide a software which you can install on your machine and you can edit your images to your liking, right? That's the core benefit that you provide. But the generic product would also have to sort of consider, okay, since I'm giving the whole solution, probably what I will do is instead of selling the software, somebody will need a computer anyways. So I will give a low-end computer which is purpose-built only for editing images, and I will give it, a free software, make image processing software, preload into that machine, and customers can buy that. And this is my generic product. Right? The expected product could be that no, fine, you're giving me a generic product, which is essentially a low-end personal computer which can just do image editing. But the customers will expect, no, but give me a high-end computer because I'm going to be running not just today's high-resolution images, which may be limited, but tomorrow you're going to come up with better cameras which have higher resolution and I need more processing power. I also want to be able to edit videos on that machine. And hence, I will expect the solution to have enough processing power that it can handle high-res images and videos. Right? So that's what the customer expects. Let's say you launch this. What's next? The next thing could be a computer that comes preloaded with high-end image processing software for no extra cost at a deeply discounted and incremental cost. So instead of giving just a simple first cut software to do basic image editing, the next augmented product is that you can do much more, just like I think Macintoshes do this, right? So there is the photo editing software that that can be purchased on top of Mac, and that's studio class photo editing software. Another piece of software that Apple gives out is GarageBand, that is for music editing. So that's what an augmented product would be. Really high-end software with all studio class features and so on and so forth. And then what could be a potential product further? We are in the age of generative AI. So a new potential product for this sort of line of products could be, a new potential feature for my base product could be generative AI built into this system. So instead of me manually editing a picture that I have taken, I should just be able to give instructions to an AI system and tell it, convert this image to black and white, reduce my ears, they look too big, remove facial hair, make me look handsome, stuff like that, right? So, and generative AI is powerful enough to do that today. So that could be the potential, right? Any thoughts or questions here before we move to the next? Essentially, this is a recipe for you to come up with features of a product and look at it in a hierarchical fashion. Look at the core benefit, look at the generic product, look at what the customers will expect, the expected product. Then once it's there, second rev, third rev, fourth rev of the products can have augmentation. That's called the augmented product, all the way leading up to the potential of the product, which you can unlock by way of adding more futuristic features, moonshot ideas. Rajesh says, how do we know that we got these benefits right? Oh, it's very straightforward, Rajesh. You have to ask the customer. There is no better way than that. Don't guess. Don't ask your team. Your team is so closely attached to the product, they will not be able to make an objective decision. There is no other way. You have to try it out in a small segment of market. So I do a detailed class on things like this, on how do you do go to market. Read a book called Crossing the Chasm. I'll type it out here. It's an amazing book which talks about go-to-market strategies. That will give you a lot of ideas. But long story short, surveys are fine, Shamas, but yeah, I think until unless customers buy the product by paying real money and start using it, you really don't get authentic view. You can get early signals from customer insight surveys, etc. But the true test of the product is when you give it in the hands of the customers and users. So have small markets, small segments, micro segments, launch it there and see what's the reaction. Continuously improve the product and then take it from there. That's how I would suggest to do this. Okay, next up is no. No means no. This is very critical, guys. This is so important. I want to introduce you to the feature creep. Look at the feature creep. What do you think about it? Any emotions, thoughts come to your mind when you look at this beautiful picture? Rama says, can you go to the previous slide? Okay, Rama, very quickly. This is my previous slide, or you're talking about this one? Yeah, I think you're talking about this one. Okay. What's your question? If you can just type in the window. Okay, all right, good. So yeah, we're talking about no, and I want your thoughts. What's your emotion, feeling when you look at this feature creep monster? I have a printout of this on my desk, and make sure that I look at it every morning because it's so easy to get into feature creep. Too many tasks in hand. Yes, too many tasks in hand. Do you think creature is happy? This creature is happy, right? He's like, oh yes, I'm happy. It's like that. So too many tasks at hand, juggling too much stuff, thinking about too many things, and also very happy, right? He's very happy at being a feature creep. So wild, not organized. We have a lot of to-do lists. Yeah, these are all great thoughts. But do remember that this feature creep monster is very happy. Like, more ideas, more money. Yeah, that's what they think. Absolutely right. The feature creep monster thinks I have more ideas, I'll get more money. So how product managers can run the risk of becoming feature creep monsters, and I want you to stay away from that. Okay, why does it happen? And I'll tell you why does it happen. Look at this. User needs maybe 4 or 5 most important things that they need to take care of, while stakeholders that you talk to, you yourself have, because you are the product manager, you think of yourself as a smart person, better than the customer, arrogance. So you will have 10 more ideas. Then you will talk to other great people that you work with. You talk to engineering, you talk to marketing, you talk to sales. They will add more ideas to this. Hey, let's add this to that. Let's add a new feature. And then this is what the overall list of ideas becomes. And then this leads you to become the feature creep monster, right? So the problem with becoming a feature creep monster is that the moment you start accommodating one more feature request, oh, customer likes this, oh, my competition product has this, oh, but the data is telling us this, oh, but it's so easy to implement, oh, it's the greatest technology to intercept. These are all the ideas that keep coming from various people around you, and you keep accommodating these thoughts, and it always comes in, oh, we'll just add one more new small feature on top of it, but it never is a small feature. The cost of a small feature, it's like the tip of the iceberg. Okay, the cost of the small feature appears very low, but in practice, it's very, very large, and it deviates. Someone mentioned it in the chat. It deviates you from the core purpose of the product, and in a sense of trying to make this product successful with more people by adding more features to it, when you try to keep everyone happy, you end up making nobody happy, right? So products which try to make everybody happy end up making nobody happy. So be very careful, right? Instead of being the feature creep, creep, I want you to be a person like this. Zen person. No. Like your default answer has to be. And like in that great movie by Amitabh Bachchan, no is a word. Sorry, no is a sentence, it's not a word. No means no. So no period is a sentence in itself. Don't do that. When in doubt, think about the customer segment that you're focusing on. Have laser sharp focus on solving those problems for that customer segment and not try to dilute the product value. That's how you will end up with products that customers love. And I have two amazing examples which sort of talk about this. So product sales and marketing in sync, I'll come to that. But if you say no, if you build products which are true to their purpose, then the result is actually that the product sales and marketing are always in sync. So let's take a look at two examples, two product examples to convey this thought of saying no and keeping focus on your products, and then things will become very clear. Okay, very simple slide. It has two different products. The left one, the blue product, and the right one, the green product, is an internal sort of block diagram of modules of two real products. And I'll show you the picture of these two real products a little later. Do you think these two products should be very similar? Both have batteries, both have power management, both have displays with touchscreen, both have memory, both have processors, both have software, both can run applications, both have connectivity. Right? They seem to be very similar products. Do you agree they're similar or not? Yeah, they are different products, but they're very similar, right? Yeah, so they are different, but they're very similar. Like the core architecture of these two products is very, very similar. Now, can you start listing down the differences between these two? You're all very observant audience. Yeah, Rama says similar in appearance, but it could be different target segments. Okay, now Sakina gives me the first piece. She says mobile processor and processor. That's right. So I have given a smaller processor in the green product, right? The blue processor is bigger. Pranav says one is more efficient. Yeah, but single and multi applications. Payal gave another very important observation that the blue product can run multiple applications all at a time, but the right one can only run one application at a time, right? Memory is different. You have much lesser, smaller memory on the green one. What else? There is one major difference. Power management also, right? The green one is way more power efficient as opposed to the blue one. All right, so let's end the suspense and flip the pictures and see what are these two products that I'm talking about. So the first one on the left is a Samsung Galaxy tablet. I think it's called Samsung Galaxy Tab 8 or something. It has been, it was launched just of maybe a year after the iPad was launched. Generic tablet. All of you might have seen or maybe even using tablet computers other than the iPad tablet. So think of this Samsung Galaxy Tab as any other tablet, which is not the iPad, but any other tablet. And on the right-hand side, we have the Kindle, right? And those of you who know me from the previous session, I just love the Kindle. So the point that I'm trying to drive across is, look at the two products internally. They're very similar. They're both built from the same components, same parts. The same kind of engineering team actually built these two different products. But in their use cases and in their customer benefits, these two products are very, very different. So let's look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab. The Samsung Galaxy Tab is a Me Too product. It essentially tries to do a whole bunch of things. Or in simple words, I feel that it basically tries to be a poor man's iPad, right? It just follows Apple iPad. It's a Me Too product. Its key use cases are internet browsing, videos, basically everything that you can do otherwise on a phone. If you want to do on a bigger screen, that's what you basically use it for. There's nothing wrong, by the way, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong in being a Me Too product if you are able to very clearly differentiate your product in terms of pricing or better design or whatever, right? So this product is also a hit product, by the way, right? But the people knew that we are building a cheap alternative to iPad. We want a multi-purpose product. It will not be as powerful as iPad in the things it does, like the screen will not be a retina display, but it will be available at one half or one third the cost, and hence it's a viable product, perfectly fine. But look at the Kindle, right? If somebody came to Jeff Bezos and told him, hey, your Kindle has only black and white screen, why don't you add color to it? Your Kindle cannot play videos, why don't you give it the processing power to play videos? Hey, I want to be able to make voice calls using the Kindle. Jeff Bezos would stand up and say no. And no means no. Why? Because the Kindle was built from the ground up as a purpose-built device for the use case of long-form reading. And if you compromise by adding more features, then you will defeat the core purpose of the Kindle. For example, the screen that this device has, it's called the e-ink display. For those of you who are not from the hardware world, it's just search for e-ink displays. E-ink displays are very different from a typical display that you will find on your mobile phone. E-ink displays are very much like paper. And those of you who have used Kindle will understand what I'm talking about. It does not put strain on your eyes because a typical phone has a backlight. It's like somebody is holding a torch in front of your eyes. It's very painful. You can't use it for long form reading. You can't have like 2 hours of reading session in your favorite book by the beachside. You can't do that on an iPad. You can't do that on a Samsung Galaxy Tab. You can do that beautifully on the Kindle because it does not have it does not have a typical display. It's an e-ink display. In sunlight, it behaves just like paper. Okay, but if you added color to it, by the way, the technology today does not support colored e-ink displays. So if you become feature creep and you say, hey, we want to be able to play videos or show photographs on the Kindle, then you will end up deviating from the core purpose of Kindle. It defeats the purpose. It kills the spirit of the product. It kills the vision of the product. And that's the reason why we must avoid being a feature creep. Other things that the Kindle does very well. Because it has limited functionality, it does not use a power-hungry processor, it does not have a lot of storage, it does not do a lot of functions, it is able to stay much longer on a single battery charge as compared to any of the other tablets. Right? That's the other benefit. It is way lighter. You can hold it in a single hand, and that's what is needed for the long form reading. So long story short, guys, this is a device purpose-built for long form reading, despite the fact that it uses the same technology as a multi-purpose tablet, and it potentially can incorporate a lot of those features. The moment you try to do that, it will defeat its core purpose. And then it will no longer be a special product. It will no longer be a product that your customers love. And Kindle is a product that customers love. Right? Other things they do well, software. You buy a device, buy a book once, you can read it anywhere. Right? So they have thought through the complete use cases of long form book reading. And that's how Kindle has become so popular. I'll give another example and then we will wrap it up. So we will take about 5-7 more minutes. Let's look at an Indian product here. And I just love this. It's called the Saregama card. Anybody here who has gifted this to their parents or somebody else? Is there anyone in the audience who has gifted this to somebody? Yes. Like, give me a second. Yes. So many people have gifted this. It's amazing. Pratyusha has also gifted to parents, right? Now, what's the use case that this product is trying to solve? And this is from my personal experience. My mom loves music. And in the back old days, where there used to be simple transistor radios, life was so simple. It was just a radio. You switch it on and you just sit back and relax and listen to your music. I have been trying to find, till I came across this product, anything digital that could serve the same purpose for my mom, that when in the evening at 5:30 sharp, when she wants to enjoy 20 minutes of her tea, relaxing, sitting on the recliner sofa, she should be able to very easily switch to the music that she wants to listen. And she does not want to sift through endless tracks of choosing which music to play. It should just work as an appliance out of the box. And this device does it. The key value proposition of this product, guys, is those of you who are not aware, it comes pre-loaded with 5,000 Hindi film songs, old songs. It's amazing. Nobody else have thought of this, right? Prashant says, huge collection of old songs. This is just amazing. Think through the hassle that somebody like my mom, a senior citizen, would have to go through. Open up the phone. That itself is so much of cognitive overload. search for the songs, play one by another, then choose a playlist. All of this, she'll say, oh, I would rather just pick up the newspaper and enjoy my cup of tea. I don't want to go through that hassle. Right? And I think Prashant used the word that hassle. Hassle is the key thing here. So this product is purpose-built speaker for that target audience. Look at the target audience definition. They're not just a music playing device. It's not a generic speaker. It's a music device meant for senior citizens in India. That's it. Very clear, sharp focusing. Look at everything that they have done in the product. It is battery powered, so my mom can keep it anywhere in the room. It comes with a remote, so when she is actually enjoying her cup of tea, she doesn't have to get up and change the songs if the device is sitting on the kitchen shelf or somewhere, right? Comes preloaded with songs, so she does not have to sift through mobile phone apps and the hassle of connecting a Bluetooth and this and that and blah. Pranali gave another very important point. Look at its look and feel, the form factor. This is plastic, guys. This is not wood. It gives you that feel and the appeal of the old world era, the charm of the radio sets. Look at the buffing on these knobs. These knobs are again plastic, but the buffing seems like they're brushed aluminum, but they're not. Right? And but they have not spent a lot of money to build amazing speakers into this product. It doesn't have great speakers, frankly.
Ashish, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ashish.
Awesome, thanks. So it brings back the old memories. But remember, they have not tried to make it the best sounding speaker. If some of you have actually used this product, they did not try to make it the best sounding speaker. The speaker quality is average. But that's enough because mostly old songs will be played and they were recorded in mono, not stereo. Right? So the point here is they made sure that this was meant for a specific audience and they did not make any compromise in that. But they did not get into feature creep. Another very important critical thing I'll tell you guys, you cannot choose a specific song using this speaker. Like you cannot use the dial to select through the song and I want to play this specific. It does not allow you to do that. You can only choose the mood. If you see here, there are buttons over here. So you can choose which artist, so you can shift to Lata Mangeshkar, Kishore Kumar. Hey, can you still not hear me? Okay. All right. Others can hear me. So thanks for that. So you cannot choose a specific song. You can only choose an artist or you can choose a mood. I want to listen to romantic songs. I want to listen to sad songs. So on. I want to listen to patriotic songs. So on and so forth. They're purposefully not given the option for you to select the song. Because for this audience, and you speak to your parents, they don't like to select a specific song and go through that mental cognitive overload of deciding which song to listen to. So very, very well thought out. I can ramble about this product at length for hours. This one and Amazon Gaming. Let's take a look at a completely complementary, completely oblique, 180 degrees out of phase product, and that's the JBL Flip 4. This is meant for a completely different audience. This is meant for the youths. This is meant for the urban elite youths. It's a waterproof device. It is advertised as something that you can take in your hands and dive into your swimming pool. It comes in amazing colors. It comes in an interesting form factor. It does not have a display. It does not have preloaded songs. It does not have SD card. It does not have YouTube, USB, Bluetooth, USB pen drive attachment opening. No, it doesn't have any of that. Why? Because this target audience likes to choose the specific music that when they are playing. This specific audience may not probably listen to the whole playlist. This audience will keep on switching from one song to another. More often than not, 2 or 3 people are just enjoying having a good time, evening party or whatever, or small evening snack time, or late night party or whatever, and people are just switching through songs one by one after the other, right? So you use the phone as a primary interface. You don't touch the device at all. It doesn't come preloaded with songs. Now, the feature creep aspect is someone comes and says, hey, Ashish, Let's put an SD card so that people can store music on it. Hey, let's give a display. It'll be so cool. People will be able to see what song is playing. No. Because if you start doing that, then you will compromise with the waterproofing feature which they want to advertise, and they want to give it that youthful appeal that you can take it to the swimming pool and listen to it. Right? So again, an example of two products which architecturally are very similar. Right? They both have speakers, they both have Bluetooth, they are both essentially wireless music systems, but the audience could not be different for Karma versus the JBL Flip 4. And remember at the start of this segment, I said the product, the sales, and the marketing, they should all be in sync about the vision of the product. These kind of products personify that concept very well. So look at the product, its features, look at the target audience, look at the way that they have advertised this product. You will find mostly this product being featured as a gifting product from the Indian youth to their parents. And in this audience itself, when I started this segment, started talking about Carvana, I asked, and at least 10 of you said, yes, we have gifted this product to our parents, right? So it is a highly successful product in that segment. You will not find too many TV series about this, but it has been featured in movie. There was a movie called 99 Not Out. Amitabh Bachchan and Rishi Kapoor. They were playing father and son. And there was a scene where blue colored Saregama Karva is something that Amitabh Bachchan is listening to in his rocking chair. This has been featured in TVF web series as well, if I'm not wrong. Right? So they targeted the end users, the parents, to popularize the product, and because the purchaser of this product is going to be the youth, the Indian youths, they have also featured it in various web series. Amazing, amazing approach to go to market. Right? So products like these, it's very evident from the product itself who it is meant for. What are the features that bring benefits to the customers? What are the pain points it's solving? So the job of the marketing and sales teams becomes super easy. So as a product manager, I will be successful if my sales and marketing team do not have to worry too much about how to position this product. If I have done my job well, then the story of the product will come out from the product itself. Nobody will have to create something and then put it on top of it as an attachment. All right, so we are nearing the end of time. I just have one piece. I'll take 2 minutes to leave this piece with you, and then we can take a few questions, and then I think Sonali has a set of further more announcements and some thoughts for you. So I'll hand it over to her. So guys, this is a very useful tool that I've benefited from. It's called the Lean Canvas framework. And I'm giving you a link in the chat window. It's a very nice link. You can use this link. It's a 20-minute read. But the key thing is use this to evaluate your product idea and bounce it off with your peers, different people who are experts in the industry, right? So I'll not be able to cover this with an example. We don't have that much time, but I still want to leave you with this tool as a brainstorming tool for your product ideas. Right? Very quickly, what are the key things on this Lean Canvas framework? Number one, very clearly define, okay, sorry, biggest mistake of my life ever, if I would ever make. Don't start with the problem or the solution, start with the customer segment. So number one is figure out who are your customer segments. Right? So for Saregama Karma, we know very clearly customer segments are the parents of Indian youths, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, all included. Right? Then define the problem. Define the top 3 problems that your customers are facing. And I spoke about that. My mom, the biggest problem is it's so difficult for her to connect the phone over Bluetooth to the device, then transfer music, find what music to play, blah, blah, blah. Those are all the problems for the customer that Carvana solves. Number 3 is the revenue stream. How do you think you will make money? Will you make money by selling the product, or you will give the product or service for free and you will make money by advertising? Figure out what your key thought there is. Number 4, think about solution. So in case of Karma, purpose-built device, easy to use, comes preloaded with songs, looks and feel like an old world radio set. That's the solution. Number 5, unique value proposition comes preloaded with songs. That's a very key unique value proposition. They would have bought licenses from the IP holders of the songs to really get this going. Number 6, channel partners. So how will you give it out to the market? Will you partner with Amazon? You will sell there. Will you partner with retail? Will you partner with, let's say, for example, Chroma? Or will you partner with Reliance Digital? How will you actually go out to the market? Who are your kind of channel partners? Number 7, what are the key numbers that you will track to set the success criteria of the product? So maybe for Karma, the key metrics is 1, sales, how many units are we selling month over month, and the other one could be usage. How many of our customers actually end up using the device? And the third I would like to set is how many are recommending to others for buying. So I bought one for my mom, and then I bought 5 more for various aunts. And that's one very key metric that these guys, I think, must be tracking. Because my mom would talk to her sister, and then they say, oh, this is great. And then she'd say, but Ashish has not gifted it to me. So yes, on her next birthday, I have to gift her as well. So that's what another key metric I would like to track. How many times it was recommended. Cost structure is pretty straightforward. What's the kind of cost? Fixed cost versus running cost. You have to track both of them. So whatever R&D went into building the product, that's the fixed cost. In whatever unit cost you incur in the bill of materials, the BOM of the hardware, and if you are paying any licensing fee to Saregama, to whoever owned the IP rights to the music, all of that is your cost structure. Unfair advantage, something that cannot be easily copied and bought. In case of Saregama, I would say it was a combination of 3 things. 1, the 5,000 preloaded song, difficult to copy, you have got the rights. 2, amazing marketing. They targeted it very well. And 3, the look and feel. It's just very well designed, purpose built for parents. So this is a very quick sort of run through of a nice framework that you can use. And with that, I will hand it back to the HeroWire team. So over to you, Sonali. You decide if we have time for questions. I can take some, but it's back to you.
Yeah, sure, Ashish. I think you can go ahead and take a few questions.
All right, perfect. One of the questions I hear came up a couple of times. What are the top 5 books you recommend? Okay, without thinking too much, Crossing the Chasm. That's number 1. This is by Clayton Christensen. Second one would be Only the Paranoid Survive by Andy Grove, the founder of Intel, co-founder of Intel. Sorry, it's called Only the Paranoid Survive. Very famous book, old book, still very valid. In fact, more valid than ever. The Paranoid Survive. Sorry, what's with this? Survive. Then 2 very favorite books of mine, Built to Last and Good to Great. These are just supposed to be read. You have to read them. And then one more I would add to the mix is Origin of Brands. Amazing, impeccable book. Origin of Brands, actually. These are my off the mind, some of the most favorite books I would recommend. There's one more, Made in Japan. Must read it. It's the story of Sony. It's basically a life biography of Akio Morita, the founder of Sony. Amazing book, a lot of fun. Oh, and then one more, sorry. Startup Nation, Israel. This is about the amazing startup ecosystem of Israel. Those guys are amazing. Very, very agile. Startup Nation. Okay, that's it. That's right. It's good to great. Oh, sorry, not good to read. It's good to great. Thanks, Suman. Yeah, thanks for correcting that.
Do we have any questions related to product management? There is a question that I can see, Ashish. Can the vision of the product change according to the market conditions?
Okay. Vision is so highly abstracted North Star. I would say that if the vision itself is changing, then you did not define your vision at a high enough level to be a North Star. vision should not change quite so often. For example, let's look at what Steve Jobs set as the vision for iPhone, right? There are so many tons of features that iPhone has added. The camera has become so amazing. AI is the buzzword of today in every phone. But the core vision is still applicable. It still tries to be the best as far as end user is concerned, the use cases are concerned, personal communication device, best phone, and the best music device in your hand, period. Now, the definition of the best music device can evolve over time, but the core vision, I would say, so my short answer is, if the vision is evolving too much, then I think the vision is not set high enough. Yeah.
There's a very interesting question, Ashish, that I can see. It says that were you always working the product management, industry, or have you transitioned from any other industry into product management? I mean, to be able to, secure a position, and this is what I am adding, that to be able to secure a senior product manager role in a company like Google, right? I mean, what does the learner or the aspiring learner would need, to move into product management? Or is there any set kind of, roadmap that you took?
Yeah, that's an important question for this audience. I will tell you how I went about it. I was an R&D engineer. I was a hardware design engineer. And first 2 years of my career, I designed my own small computer, mobile computer. And then after 2 years, I was not satisfied by just doing hardware. I felt, oh my God, all the action happens in the software. Hardware just follows what the software asks it to do. So I said I should do software. And it was a startup. I consciously made a decision to start with the startup in my career. So they said, okay, if you want to do software, do software. Then I did software. So I put Linux onto my own design computer, and I became the Linux kernel contributor. Was very happy. But then I saw another thing. Okay, hardware and software is all fine, but the system designer actually decides how these two things will work together. And I want to be the decision maker, so I'll become that. I did that for a year. And then I realized, oh my God, it's not the system designer, that's the technical team's thing. But the actual requirements are shaped by the product managers. So I want to become a product. So this is how my journey was. I just was not satisfied with the limited sort of things I could do. So I think in single line, if I have to summarize, the best paths to become a successful product manager is see if you can experience end-to-end product life cycles in whichever job, in whichever career path you have taken. So if you are being part of those teams which have started on a product from scratch and taken it all the way from there to a successful product landing, and good product managers have done these cycles like multiple number of times. So you need to find situations where you can put yourself, even let's say you're a software engineer, go find a product which is just starting from scratch and it will take a year or two to launch in the market. So stick with it throughout that entire life cycle, interact with cross-functional people, and you'll get a better sense. If you go through multiple product life cycles, you position yourself as a good candidate for becoming product managers.
Thank you so much, Ashish, for answering all the questions so patiently. I do not see any further questions, that need to be answered from your end. I mean, at the end, if in case you can stay back, we can answer, more if there are any other questions. So thank you so much for taking out the time, Ashish. Anything that you would like to add up, Mahima?
No, I think Sonali, you've covered
All
everything.
right.
I've tried answering most of the questions. I would just like to thank Ashish for taking out his valuable time for this session and sharing his insights and thoughts over the topic. And I hope this session was useful to each and every one. And thanks a lot, Ashish, for this session once again.